comes in part from the Kristovich family in honor of Mary Lou and Bill Kristovich. This program is sponsored in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support the arts and culture in the greater New Orleans area.
Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. Joining me, Poppy Tucker, host of Louisiana Eats on WWNO Radio. Hey, Miss Poppy, good to see you, dear.
Hello, Peggy.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Same here. Ian McNulty, food writer for the Times Picayune, New Orleans Advocate. Hey, Ian. Hello.
Hi, Peggy.
Alfred Richard's back, movie critic for WWL-TV. Ooh, scary.
Hello, Peggy.
Cross, huh? Very good. And Alan Smason of theatercriticism.com and the Crescent City Jewish News. Hello, Mr. Alan. Hi. Poppy, a new culinary addition to Magazine Street.
You know, it's crazy. Everybody's worried about who's closing, and there's new places opening up. And this one is really something to check out. It's the Union Ramen Bar. Now, they describe it as a collaboration between a Vietnamese chef and a Filipino restaurateur. The partners are Chef Nate Nguyen and Jeff Gapultos. This restaurant is in the 1800 block of Magazine Street between Felicity and St. Mary, you know, right where there's that little triangle, you know. And Chef Nate worked at Bayona, studied ramen noodle making in Japan, and he was actually one of Ken's first chefs. And all the ramen lovers love Ken, and it's not there anymore. So here's some of the yumminess. Oh, my goodness. A poke stack. Their ramen. Their tori ramen is, as they say, radical ramen. It's a creamy chicken broth. It's got roasted pork and fried garlic. What I love about their food is that it's not a Japanese restaurant, a typical Japanese restaurant at all. They've got Japanese elements, Polynesian elements. They're doing New Orleans things in unusual ways. They have a barbecued stuffed squid. Now, the dirty stuffing, and they make a big use of dirty, which to them is ground beef and passo all chopped, absolutely yummy. And there is a NOLA-style barbecue sauce on top of this dirty stuffed squid. Of course, there's Spam on the menu, and the Spam musubi. This is something that is a real popular sushi-style snack in Hawaii. Something else I hadn't had before, dirty mazamen, okay? This is the ultimate ramen noodle snack. It's really interesting. It's dry as opposed to your typical wet, soupy ramen. It's delicious. And there's shrimp and crawfish lumpia, which are Filipino spring rolls. There's a full bar. Alan, you'll be happy to know they make a wonderful Sazerac there. And they even have a kids menu. This is a delicious restaurant. It's beautiful inside. They're doing big takeout. There's dine-in. I'd say head on down to the Union Ramen Bar. You're going to like it.
Miss Poppy, a question. So where is it on Magazine? What part of Magazine? Mm-hmm.
It's on Magazine Street in the block between Felicity and St. Mary.
Okay.
You know, it's right.
Okay.
There's
right.
When Magazine is one way and there's that little triangular
right.
block.
Yeah.
That's where it is.
Okay. Thank you so much.
On the riverside.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And moving on to Ian. Now, Ian, I know August doesn't exactly seem like a great time to dine al fresco, but that just has to be an option, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right, Peggy. New Orleans summer and al fresco anything is often a fraught proposition, but you're seeing a lot of restaurants move and expand to outdoor dining. obviously in response to the coronavirus crisis. Public health authorities are saying that almost any activity is safer outside than inside. That goes for dining. And so restaurants are given a lot more leeway, a lot looser restrictions on how they can seat and the capacity. So restaurants that may have very small capacities inside under the current restrictions can double, triple, even more their seating by moving outside. So Peggy, you're seeing a few things happen. The city this week just began the first of a raft of programs that are meant to encourage this around New Orleans proper, right? So there is a grant program out there that's helping restaurants a little bit pay for some outdoor seating, some fans, some shades, whatever they can do to sort of spruce up their outdoor areas. Others, though, like Scyther Seafood out in Harahan, have been working their own ad hoc makeshift outdoor seating areas, and some of them, man, they're pretty fun. I mean, look at the scene at Scyther's there. They got a guy playing guitar out on an outdoor stage. That's actually the crawfish boiling trailer. Tiki torches going, flags waving. Yeah, I know. New Orleans summertime, it's hot. But what I found is after the sun goes down, a little breeze picks up. With the right attitude, it can be not just comfortable, but a relief, actually, to get out and about again. So you're going to be seeing more of this as restaurants adapt, but also more programs from the city rolling through. We're expecting in the next few weeks to learn about the first, what they call parklets, which are going to turn pieces of the parking lane out, where you'd park your car in front of a restaurant. That's going to be turned into more outdoor seating. There's the idea of streeteries, which might temporarily shut down a block or two at a time, almost block party style, for restaurants to take over the entire street. Now that idea for these streeteries taking over the whole block, that's envisioned as being temporary, something to give a little boost to these restaurants during the really hard times right now. But the parklets idea, Peggy, the city says that's permanent. So when you start seeing some of these areas blocked off, some of these curbside areas with more tents and umbrellas and tables and fans and amenities, you might be looking at part of the future. There's a good chance these things are going to be sprouting up around the city and become a permanent part of the dining landscape. So can New Orleans warm up to outdoor dining all year round, even in summer? It's working in other cities. It's quite evocative in some European cities, in fact. I think New Orleans is in for a pretty interesting test of this. I'm looking forward to see how it goes.
Okay, thank you so much, Ian. And over to Alfred, a movie with a local connection for sure.
That's right. And one of the things I've been talking about on Steppin Out and on Channel 4 in the last few weeks has been dealing with the AMC going back and forth, the AMC movie chain saying they were going to open on this time, and then they weren't going to open. Then they pulled it back. Well, I can say to the audience that finally the AMC Theaters have decided that August 20th was the day to kick off reopening the theaters. So all four of the AMC theaters in this area, the Elmwood, the Clearview, the West Bank, and the one in Houma, will reopen on the 20th. Now, you may ask yourself, what kind of movies will they show? Well, it's going to be a mixture of some classic films, but AMC is also going to be bringing out some new films, and one of them is a true taste of New Orleans because it was filmed here in New Orleans, starring Academy Award winner Russell Crowe. It's called Unhinged, and it has a lot of action. There's a lot of stunt work in this. It was set in the city, and Russell Crowe was seen throughout the city before the pandemic, and they made the finished product. So the film will debut when the AMC theaters reopen. Another film that will be coming out that week will be a film called On the Walls of Bathroom Walls. Words on Bathroom Walls. And this one, at first you think the title, you're thinking of some things you shouldn't be writing back in high school or in college, but it's about a teenager coping with paranoid schizophrenia and an experimental drug that may be able to help him cope. So it looks very interesting. And the third film that will be coming out that week is hard to believe. It's been 10 years since Christopher Nolan's Inception, the film that made us all wonder, is it real? Is this a fictional world? It's sort of like what we're dealing with in the coronavirus pandemic at this point, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Really good film. It still holds up after 10 years. So AMC is going to kick it off. Now the big question is, who will want to go back into the theaters? We'll find out next week.
Okay. Now, Alfred, Nolan has another movie that's coming out, but they keep delaying the debut of that. Is that correct?
That is correct. The film Tenet. Now, this is a film that was supposed to come out back in July, but of course, the pandemic made that impossible. Now there is talk that this film will be coming out around September 4th. Again, the date is flexible, but there is a lot of buzz about Christopher Nolan. Just about anything he does, whether it be the Batman films, Inception, Dunkirk, and in this case, Tenet. Really looking forward to that one.
Yes. And you know, the other day I was driving down Esplanade and I saw some movie production trucks. So I think it's starting to come back bit by bit.
Bit by bit, we're seeing that type of production. The NCIS New Orleans, Queen Sugar, and Claws, they're getting back into the swing of things. So we'll see what their claws will bring forth. That's my little tiger mask from earlier.
Thank you so much. And over to you, Alan. A long-running theater property, a theater venture, is now a documentary. Please explain.
Well, they're going to make it into a documentary. It's going to be eventually released. Let me explain what exactly it is. We're talking about Debauchery. This is the 10th anniversary of Debauchery. It's the long-running, once-a-month book in hand, if you will, soap opera penned by Pat Bourgeois, and describes a topsy-turvy world of New Orleans post-Katrina. And what began really with a small group of 5 players at Le Chat Noir. How long has it been since you heard that, Le Chat Noir? Now it grew to a large troupe of approximately 24 players. They moved, of course, to Southern Rep when it was at Canal Place. Then they lost their lease and it moved over to Mid-City Theater. And then eventually it went over to the theater on St. Claude. It's eventually found its way with its winning director, Mark Routhier, over at Southern Rep on Bayou Road now. And it has more than, again, as I mentioned, more than 24 people who've been doing these outlandish scripts with revolving characters. Acting as a producer, of course, is Carrie Cahill, and she describes it as part vaudeville and part improv. Now, Carrie and Mark have contributed in other ways, too, because Pat Bourgeois originally intended them just to be characters, and she wrote a role for Mark as Toke, an internationally renowned vegetarian chef, and you see Mark in that role. And then, of course, not to be outdone, Carrie plays the role of the supermodel or international supermodel Taffeta. Again, Carrie Cahill, you may see some other shows that she's been involved with on TV. These days, with a pandemic going on, Mark and Carrie are going to be hosting a documentary question and answer session, basically about this debauchery that's being transformed into a documentary. And again, it's going to be on this Wednesday, the August 19th, 2 p.m. slot. And they're going to be on Facebook answering questions to the public out there. And again, that's going to be really a lot of fun. I hope to get a lot of people to go check it out. We have all the details there. But again, I also had some sad news to pass on this week. We found out that Paul Lucas, the playwright whose work transcripts won the Women, was produced this past November by Voices in the Dark repertory. That's with Tommy Myrick. He lost his battle with cancer this week. Oh. And here he's seen with Joanne Giddaws from Cajun's Pub, seen there with Kendall Messick, whom he married just last month while undergoing treatment in New York.
So sorry to hear that. Thank you, Alan. And moving over to Miss Poppy, Alon Shaya is at it again with another new idea, huh?
Well, that's what restaurants have to do in a time like this. All of the pivoting and new merchandising ideas, and that's what this is. And so Alon has always had a big following with Tulane parents. And that was part of this inspiration for the Saba Cares package. Now, you can order this on a Friday for pickup on Mondays. And this is going to be delicious. What is in this insulated bag is a whole week of no cooking. So anybody who really needs something easy and accessible in the fridge, yum, harissa, chicken salad, chopped chickpea salad, Moroccan carrot salad is in there, along with pita chips and fresh pita bread and crudité. And then there's dips like hummus and tzatziki and baba ganoush. He's got pickles. He's got cold brew coffee. There's orange blossom granola and his fabulous tahini chocolate chip cookies. So it's $100 to get the Saba Care package, and you can pick it up at Saba or at Broadway and Simple on Mondays. And I think it's a great idea. So congratulations. Keep going, Alan. We love that food.
Thank you so much. And back to you, Ian. A kind of an interesting coming together of two mid-city restaurants, huh?
Oh, boy, Poppy said it right. Adaptation, change, pivot, shift. I mean, that's been the story of restaurants. Well, collaboration is also becoming part of that story, too. And that's an example of that is coming up Saturday in Mid-City. It's a collaboration between two Mid-City restaurants. They're only a few blocks away. They serve very different food, but as you'll see, they're coming together to highlight what they share. We're talking about Addis Nola, which is a traditional Ethiopian restaurant. It's on Broad and Two Lanes, across from the courthouse. People may remember it as the old Big Cheesy or the Liberty's Kitchen before that, same location. And then Buku Eats, which is on Canal Street, across from the hospital complex. More of a lighter, modern take on Creole comfort food, New Orleans comfort food, just good old anytime food, great fries, salads, wings, stuff like that. Well, they came together through friendship. They share the neighborhood. They're both Black-owned restaurants. They're feeling very much the support of the moment and this history. Some uplift going to Black-owned businesses around town, and they decided to work together on something. You just saw Prince there at Addis Nola. Just great energy flowing from that young man. Well, he and Lakeisha Reed over at Buku Eats collaborated on a number of dishes that are combining what Buku Eats does with what Addis Nola does. So here's fries, but with Ethiopian spiced red lentils and those chili peppers on there. Just deep, rich, good flavors. Awaze wings. These are chicken wings with one of the classic Ethiopian sauces, just pulsing with ginger and earthy spice and just wonderfully tasty. Not hot, spicy, just like complex, deep. One other dish is an affogato that they're going to have there too, which is ice cream covered with coffee being the passion of Ethiopia. So this is a one-day event. It happens Saturday. You pre-order and pick up that day, and it's one day, but hopefully the start of a lot more other things. They could see some more collaborations between Addis Nola, Buku Eats, and also an opportunity for people who haven't checked out either one to get to know the styles of each other. So both restaurants doing great work in Mid-City, and wonderful to see them coming together for something special. They definitely deserve attention.
One thing I really like about Buku Eats is that a lot of their greens are actually homegrown. They have their own gardens in Kenner. So very, very impressive.
That's right. We talk about wings and fries and sandwiches and stuff, but this is a place where you can get a much lighter meal in the context of just a New Orleans joint. Really fun.
Okay, thank you. And back to you, Alfred. There are actually some movies out there, aren't there?
That's right. And there's actually movie theaters that are open. Of course, we've talked about unfortunate things such as the Broad closing temporarily and Chalmette Movies closing temporarily. But there are movies to be found if you're willing to take a little trip. One little trip is just going over into the parish over on Araby in just off of St. Claude Avenue. It's called the Zeitgeist Theater and Lounge. So you can not only get a movie, you can also get a drink there too. So it covers a lot of different things. A couple films that are there that I want to talk about. One is called Made in Italy. Now this is a film starring Liam Neeson, and he gets to work with his son. So you get to see that interplay back and forth between Liam Neeson, who has a certain set of skills, but he won't kill you. You will enjoy this film. Another film that's going to be there is Most Wanted. Now, Most Wanted is part of their continuing series over at the Zeitgeist, and that series is called, get this, Canada is Bigger Than the U.S. And this is a nice thriller dealing with the Canadian issue, but you will like this as well because Canada is bigger than the U.S. in many ways. And it's at the Zeitgeist, again, just across You just go from St. Claude Avenue when it turns from Orleans Parish to St. Bernard, and you're right there. And of course, my favorite, the little theater that just keeps on chugging along, and that is the Britannia Theater uptown in my old neck of the woods. The Britannia Theater is going to be showing some classic films that will take you from the past all the way, I guess, to the future. First of all, let's talk about Jurassic Park, the original Jurassic Park. This is the one that made you realize that dinosaurs do walk among us, and it still holds up as of today. Another great film, Jumpin' Gigawatts. You can go watch Marty McFly and the Professor deal going back to the future. You don't have to drive your DeLorean, but if you get there, you just remember where we're going, we don't need roads. And a classic, the third in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, this one is going to be The Return of the King. They've been showing all of the Lord of the Rings films. This one will close out that trilogy. And that's good because the Britannia has been an opportunity for people to watch safely distancing in an uptown area. Because remember, the Britannia is history. It's still the only single-screen theater in the entire state of Louisiana. And good job to the Burnett family keeping it going. And I'm so happy to see that.
You know, the other thing is the movies that are mentioned, of course, are really deserve to be shown on the big screen.
That's exactly it. Hey, that's a plug for something I remember. Yes, they really do deserve to be shown on the big screen to get that full encompassing feeling.
All right. Thank you. And Alan, back to you on your show, your next week, your online show, A Little Louie, huh?
Right, absolutely. We have actually a couple of opportunities, the first of two shows dealing with Louis Armstrong, the man credited with really popularizing jazz, including several recordings dealing with his hot fives and hot sevens, particularly because of his second wife, Lil Hardin. Joe Morello, who's a playwright, basically wrote a play called Lil and Satchmo. It's a very well-researched piece, a historical drama that has over 30 pieces that she researched and actually has these recorded in the production itself. She went out and had a session group of people, musicians, to play these songs so that they could have the performance right for it, as well as them being in the public domain. So Lil is seen here with Louis. You know, you may remember Lil, and we're going to be joined, by the way, this week and next week, because I'll talk about something else coming with Ricky Riccardi, who's considered one of the foremost authorities on Louis Armstrong. He's going to be a guest as we explore Satchmo's history and his strong attachment to Lil throughout the many years of his life. Ricky would have been down here for Satch Fest this year, but he had his lectures recorded instead, if you remember, for the 7 days of Satch. He'll also be a guest, as I mentioned, next Friday on the show, where we talk about a lost musical based on the life of Louis Armstrong by Ron Miller. This is the late composer who worked up such songs as Yester Me, Yester You, Yesterday, Signed, Sealed, Delivered for Stevie Wonder, and Touch Me in the Morning for Diana Ross. Ricky will be discussing that work. He had never been aware of that, Peggy, and anytime I can bring something to the table that Ricky Riccardi is not informed of about Louis Armstrong, I'm very happy. Ron's daughter, Lisa Miller, will be my guest, and we'll be sampling some of the songs as well as you know, trying to get a listen to this never-before-heard-of musical about Louis Armstrong. Before that, we're having a reading of Rob Florence's Katrina's Path, which is going to be dealing with a number of interviews that he conducted and monologues. These are some of the characters who are involved, the original characters, which include Rudy Rasmussen and Sidney Smith, who will play themselves on Monday night. And back a few years ago, here's a picture of 5 of the 6 characters, along with several actors like Janet Shea. Again, this is for Katrina's Path. It's coming up this Monday night. And don't forget, Lisa D'Amour's Nita and Zita will be on August the 24th, and of course, John Bigonet's Mold on August the 31st.
All right.
Also, quickly, something to watch: a new play by Bob Euland, starring Jason Alexander, Patti LuPone, Santino Fontana, and Michael McKean. It's called Judgment Day. It's directed by Matthew Penn. This will benefit the Barrington Stage Company. Again, Barrington is one of the few companies actually putting on live productions during this pandemic period. Hopefully you can check it out. A brand new work, should be very good.
By the way, Matt, in the Small World department, Matthew Penn is married to Candy Brocker, who was a longtime actress in New Orleans, but has been in now New York for many years. So very small world. Thank you. And now time for our picks of the week. Poppy.
Favorite in the French Quarter, Tableau is popping up on weekends, Friday through Sunday, 11 a.m., 8 p.m. And they have new courtyard seating, beautiful tropical courtyard, and of course that balcony. And one last thing, bravo to Creole Cuisine Concepts. They are taking over the old Bravo space at Lakeside and opening up an Italian restaurant called A Tavola, and we can look for that coming around Thanksgiving. So, bravo.
Yes. Ian.
The Camellia Grill is back, one of the classics uptown there on the right by the streetcar tracks. They have reopened. The neon is across the front as usual. It underwent quite a renovation on the inside, although most of that was behind the scenes. But one big change, outdoor seating for the Times. They have some tables out on the sidewalk and between the columns there, so you can dine outside also.
Oh, that's really exciting, actually. Thank you. And Alfred.
Well, if you're not going into the theater, and yes, I understand people hesitant, I got two choices for you. First of all, on Hulu, a great documentary that's called Amazing Grace, a performance by Aretha Franklin that for many years was not shown and not known of, but it is amazing to see the power of this young woman, and of course, recently passed away. And you know, we're just living in the world, according to Jeff Goldblum. It's hard to believe this man has been around doing so many different things. So Jurassic Park, Independence Day, even those apartment ads. But the world, according to Jeff Goldblum, is available on DisneyPlus.com.
By the way, I recently watched a few of the episodes. He focuses on one particular topic. He has an entire topic on sneakers. And somehow, during this half-hour show, he makes it work. But he's so engaging to watch. And I think one of the episodes was also shot in New Orleans before the pandemic.
It is amazing to see that you can get enjoyment out of sneakers.
Yes, get this right. And now over to Alan. Alan?
Well, Peggy, my pick this week is, again, to continue with the Seth concert series with Tony Award winner, again, last year's Tony Award winner, Stephanie J. Block from The Cher Show. It's going to be thesethconcerts.com. And if you type in Stephanie20, you will get an extra 20%. That's from me to you. Keep it secret. And I'll see you at the theater, Peggy.
Okay, and I've been watching, and I know you have too, that Seth concert series. It is incredible. You get an hour and a half of, a famous Broadway star, and via Zoom. It's just incredible. Thank you. And now my pick, City Park, is holding a plant sale starting this weekend and through August from 8 a.m. to noon. It's at the Pelican Greenhouse, and you can get to it actually from Marconi to Zachary Taylor Drive, and you go under the overpass. But check out the directions at NewOrleansCityPark.com. It's not at the Botanical Garden, okay? The Pelican Greenhouse. And a reminder that the park really needs support right now. And before we leave you, though, Ian, we had a question from a viewer, and the question is, can you recommend a good Cajun restaurant right now that's open?
Oh, sure. Koshan, Donald Link's fantastic restaurant downtown, Toop's Meadery in Mid-City. And also look up Lee's Cajun Cuisine. He was cooking in the back of the Rendon Inn. Just fantastic way with smoked meats. See what he's up to these days. See if they're doing some takeout or catering. It's a nice pick, too.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. And goodbye. See you later.
This program is sponsored in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support the arts and culture in the greater New Orleans area. Support for Steppin Out comes in part from the Kristovich family in honor of Mary Lou and Bill Kristovich.